I've been carnivore now for 6 years. And there's something that happened after I went carnivore that I want to present to the tribe. And I want to know if anybody else out there has experienced this. And the thing I'm referring to is I've had a mindset shift that has really altered and changed what is important to me in life. All right, so if you're new to this channel, my name's Jacob, and if you don't know my story, in 2017, I was severely ill. I was on the brink of death. I was failed by the medical industry, ended up taking matters into my own hands, and after a bunch of trial and error, I eventually healed myself with an all-meat carnivore diet and natural and herbal remedies. All right, so let's dive into this topic. So for me to describe what happened, let me take you back in time prior to me being carnivore. For 18 years of my life, I traveled extensively, and on average, I was gone about 50 to 75% of the year. Now, when I was traveling prior to being carnivore, I would go out and I would explore the city areas. I would go out and I would want to, I'd want to go to bars and clubs, and I would want to go to restaurants and venues and events and stuff like that, and be around people and just kind of explore, I guess you could say, the more city life. I always had a slight draw to nature. If I was in the mountains and stuff like that or around mountains, I always wanted to seek them out. But I always did that by car. I never got out and hiked around or immersed myself in nature. It was always, let's go experience the culture. Let's go meet people. Let's go get food. And prior to me being carnivore, those were the things that were important to me. That's what brought me joy. And there were times where I would get my fishing license at different places and I would go out and I would fish and stuff like that. But the majority of my time was spent being around people. But now that I've gone carnivore, I've experienced a drastic mindset shift that has taken me away from that city experience and has forced me out into nature. And that's what I look forward to the most. Those are the things that bring me the most joy, is being outside, is hiking around, being in nature, exposing myself to the sunlight, and just, I would say, connecting with nature on a deeper level. So instead of giving myself an auto tour and driving around the mountains and just sightseeing from the window, I now get out of the car and I hike miles upon miles through the mountains. And I go out there and I'm in nature and I don't want to come back. Once I get out there, it's just, there's something very primal and natural about that. And I think it's ingrained in our DNA to want that experience, to be outside and to connect with nature. Because if you think about all of history, that's what we were doing. We were outside. We weren't stuck in these boxes. We weren't stuck in these cubes and these cars. We weren't stuck inside. We were outside under the sunlight. We were in the elements. We were being uncomfortable. We were being exposed to nature. We were grounding ourselves in the soil with our bare feet. And I think removing ourselves from that in this modern world has really had detrimental impacts on our overall health, because it's taking us away from what is natural. And I can't help but think that that's probably what's leading to this loss of purpose and this sense of not really having meaning in life, and being depressed and having anxiety and all these bad things that we're plagued with as a nation. I think this really does play a role in that, because we've gone thousands of years living that life, being out in nature and exposing ourselves to all those things, to now suddenly really never doing that, all within just the last couple hundred years. And I think we've evolved and adapted to that lifestyle, and to now have just been thrown into this new modern world to where we can't really do that. I feel like it's really had a negative impact on our mental and physical well-being. I can't see how it wouldn't. And I can tell you from experience that now that I actually go out and I connect with nature and I spend more time outdoors, my life is, number one, a lot more stress-free. I don't worry about anything really ever at all. And my life is so much simpler, and I have so much more gratitude, not just for the things I have, but for the people in my life, and for simply being able to have those experiences, to be outdoors. I'm very grateful for that. I find it much easier to find gratitude in the simple things, and all the stresses I used to have, all the anxiety, all the self-doubt and the negative self-talk. When I remove myself from that box and I get away from all that stuff that is really not natural for us, and I put myself in nature, all that stuff fades away. So for me, the things that I thought were important and the things I was always chasing after, now that I've gone carnivore, they just don't matter. what matters to me now is just living my life more simply, getting back to the basics and focusing on the things that got us here. That's what really matters to me now, and that's what brings me the most joy. So definitely let me know down in the comments if you've experienced this paradigm shift. If you've experienced this shift in mindset that has pushed you and really driven you to put yourself in nature, to reconnect with our roots and what is natural. Because when you really drill this down, I think that's what this is about. I think this is something that is ingrained in our DNA that we've lost touch with. And I really do think that that is a driving factor in why the mental health of our nation and probably the physical health of our nation is in such dire straits. So sometimes the best things that we can do to improve our mental and physical health is often the most simple. And it just boils down to getting back to the basics, reconnecting with the things that are natural and the things that got us here.